retail job. He was older, going through his own divorce. She'd told him she was a widow. Said Roger had died in a car accident when Sophia was a baby. Roger found out through his lawyer. Bruce's ex-wife had done a background check when she heard about Claire. Found the divorce records, the custody arrangement, the whole mess. She'd reached out to Roger's lawyer to compare notes. Bruce's ex said he'd already started isolating from his family. Said Claire was convincing him they were all toxic. Classic Claire move. I'd seen it before. She'd tried it with me and my family before the shooting. Little comments about how they didn't really support me, how I deserved better. Roger was panicking. He didn't want Sophia exposed to another round of Claire's chaos. His lawyer said there wasn't much they could do unless Claire violated the custody agreement. Dating someone new wasn't illegal, even if she was lying to him. I did something I probably shouldn't have. I reached out to Bruce through LinkedIn. Just a simple message saying I was an old friend of Claire's and had some information he might want to know. I attached the wedding video and a link to the public divorce records. He read it but didn't respond. 2 weeks later, Claire showed up at my apartment building. Not at my door. She knew better after the restraining order attempt, but in the lobby, waiting. She looked different, harder somehow. The pixie cut had grown out into a messy bob. She wore all black, no more pastels. She said I needed to stop. Said she was trying to build a new life and I was sabotaging her. Said she'd made mistakes but didn't deserve to be stalked and harassed. The security guard was watching, and I knew she was performing for him. I stayed calm, told her to leave or I'd call the police. She started crying then. Not the pretty tears from before, but ugly sobs. Said she'd lost everything because of me. Her career, her marriage, her reputation. Said I'd won. Wasn't that enough? I asked her one question. Why couldn't she just let me be in the wedding photos? That's all I wanted to know. After everything, why was my appearance such a problem? She stopped crying, looked at me with something like disgust. Said I knew why. Said looking at me reminded her of the worst day of her life. That every scar was a reminder of how close she'd come to dying. That she'd wanted one perfect day without thinking about death, and I'd ruined it. I laughed. Told her she thought about death every day when she used it for sympathy. When she told survivor stories at parties. When she posted inspiration quotes over sunset photos. She didn't want to forget the shooting. She wanted to forget that I was there too. The security guard stepped forward then. Asked if everything was okay. Claire switched back to victim mode instantly. Said she was just trying to talk to an old friend, but I was being hostile. He looked at me, and I just shook my head. I went upstairs and called Andrea. She said to file a report, create a record. Claire showing up violated the spirit of the denied restraining order, even if not the letter. We needed documentation in case she escalated. Bruce finally responded to my message a week later. He wanted to meet. We chose a public place, a busy Starbucks downtown. He looked exhausted, like Roger had that first day at my apartment. That same lost expression of someone realizing they'd been living in a fantasy. He said Claire had told him so many lies he didn't know where to start. The dead husband's story was just the beginning. She'd said she was independently wealthy from Roger's life insurance. Said she worked retail by choice to stay grounded. Said Sophia's supervised visits were because Roger's family was trying to steal her baby. The truth had unraveled when he'd mentioned wanting to see Roger's grave, to pay respects to the man whose child he was helping raise. Claire had broken down, admitted Roger was alive but said he was abusive. Changed her story 3 times in one conversation. Bruce had already left her, moved back in with his brother while he figured things out. But Claire was 4 months pregnant with his child. He was trapped in a different way than Roger had been. No marriage to divorce, but a baby coming anyway. He asked me what he should do. I told him to talk to Roger's lawyer, to document everything, to get ready for a fight, because Claire didn't give up easily. He looked sick at the prospect. Said he thought he'd found someone special, someone who understood loss and pain. I told him Claire understood those things. She just wielded them like weapons instead of healing from them. He nodded slowly, processing. Asked if I regretted saving her that day at the concert. I'd been asked that question so many times, by therapists, by friends, by strangers on the internet. The answer was always complicated, but sitting there with Bruce, watching another life get tangled in Claire's web, it felt simple. I told him no. I didn't regret